Welcome to the Stations of the Cross. This is a series of 7 paintings which I painted as a source of inspiration from the scriptures covering all the apostles. I'm starting with the first image, which is called Jesus is Condemned to Death. I'm starting the reading from Mark 15, the verses 7 till 15. A man called Barabbas was in prison with the insurrectionists who had committed murder in the uprising. The crowd came up and asked Pilate to do for them what he usually did. "Do you want me to release to you the King of the Jews?" asked Pilate, knowing that it was out of envy that the chief priests had handed Jesus over to him. But the chief priest stirred up the crowd to have Pilate release Barabbas instead. "What shall I do then with the one you call the King of the Jews?" Pilate asked them. "Crucify him," they shouted. "Why? What crime has he committed?" asked Pilate. But they shouted all the louder, "Crucify him." Wanting to satisfy the crowd, Pilate released Barabbas to them. He had Jesus flogged and handed him over to be crucified. As you can see, there are 2 central figures here. There is Pilate, who is standing here, huge and massive, standing above Christ, who is humbled, who has been beaten, who has been mistreated by so many soldiers. He is laying on the ground here. His purple coat, which he received, are still around his body. He has turned his head away from Pilate. Pilate points at him. He said, "Look, I cannot find any guilt in this man." But because of the pressure of the crowds, he gave in and said, "This man must be crucified." He washes his hand in the urn in front of him with the towel here. He washes his hands, saying that I am not part of all this. He does not sit on his throne when he passes judgment. He stands next to it. For me, that was a symbolism of he doesn't pass the judgment when sitting on there condemning Christ. No, he stands next to the throne, because the ultimate throne is being occupied by Jesus. We see in the distance here, we see Barabbas in this corner here. He is cheered by the onlookers. There are 3 crosses there, ready for the 2 robbers and Jesus to be hung. Barabbas was released to the crowd, and Jesus was put into the hands of the soldiers.